PMG Radio. Respect your jaw.
All that goes to peso.
Let's talk about some shit, y'all. You know what I mean? Who brought up the story with the young boy?
Oh, the little 8-year-old. His name's Gabriel Tay from Ohio. Is it Cincinnati? I believe he was from, and he committed suicide like a few days ago. And basically, his mother had found out that. I guess the school released some type of like video. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the video. I started to watch it, but I didn't want to see it. But long story short, one of the other kids had pushed him against the wall, and he was knocked unconscious for 7 minutes. So when he told the story to his teachers, he just said that he passed out, he fainted. And then 2 days later, he committed suicide and killed himself. And he's 8 years old, an age where a lot of kids don't even know what death is, or they're starting to learn about what death is. But at the age of 8, he felt compelled enough, you know what I mean, that he was being bullied enough to the point where he took his own life. So that really hit home for me. You know, it's so sad. It's so traumatizing. Did you read up on the story at all?
I saw the headline. Some stuff I try to avoid, man. Like, that's heavy. Like, I can't. Like, at 8, I'm like, I don't even know how to kill myself when I was 8.
Right,
like,
he hung himself, actually.
Right.
Yeah, he hung himself.
That was what struck me the most, too, about the story. The fact that he had the mental wherewithal to kill himself. At 8 years old. I didn't, like you said, I wouldn't even know how to do that at 8 years old. Like, seriously. So,
that's deep.
I mean, times are harder than ever. I think we all know that. Like, times are definitely harder than ever because we are in the age of the internet, age of social media, where people have tons of access to you.
Right.
You know, people can fuck with you so many different levels.
Right.
It's not even just about the face-to-face no more.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So, these kids have it way rougher than what we had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shit, when I was coming up, I mean, somebody said some crazy shit about me or my mother or whatever, I could just punch them in the face.
Right, and that'll be it.
And that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
No.
But now, it's like these kids have so many different ways where they could attack you. You know what I mean? So,
But he's...
It's unfortunate. Like, it definitely is unfortunate that a child would have to deal with that. And another thing I ask, where the fuck are all the adults?
Right, like, do you know what it is? To me, it's just so scary because of the fact that he's 8 years old. I'm sure the bullying had probably been going on for a long time, but to me, what's so sad is the fact that there's plenty of kids out there who are being bullied who don't feel confident enough to share it with anybody. Do you know what I'm trying to say? We don't know how long he's been bullied for, but he couldn't tell his mom, he couldn't tell his teachers, he couldn't tell anybody. And that's what kills people, is the silence, is the fact that they're scared for some reason to speak to people. Right. They have nowhere to turn. So you feel like you're on your own. You know, for an 8-year-old to be going through that, it's really, really sad. So, you know, we lived in a fucked up system, and the school system obviously isn't providing enough support. If at that age, you can't just run and tell your favorite teacher, you can't even tell your parents. So God knows what these bullies were saying to him, what they were doing to him to instill that type of fear. So that's what makes it sad for me, is the fact that there's a lot of kids who are going through this who have no one to talk to, or who are too scared to talk. I think I saw some statistic that said, I think 14 children a year, 10 years and under, commit suicide actually a year. 14, 10 and under. No, but that's, yeah, but that age bracket is about 14, and then it's like, I think 1,200.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like upwards, up until the age of like 16 or 18, it's like 1,200 a year, or maybe even 1,400. So that's a lot of lives being lost. You know what I mean? A lot of kids get depressed and, you know what I mean, and feel like death is their only way out. So
yeah, that's a lot of failure though to go around. Like the school system, maybe there's not enough support within the school system, like counselors and people who they feel like they can talk to.
And then maybe not being taken seriously. Sometimes you can say I'm being bullied, and they, you know what I mean, it's shrugged off, or it's not seen as something that's that serious, or it's seen as something you can deal with or that you can handle until you kill yourself. You know what I mean? So
and this goes on in London as well.
Same thing goes on in London. Same thing. It's a worldwide thing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, depression is huge. Like, I think depression is really the final catalyst to suicide for most people. You know what I mean? And I think, like I said, I think that's something we don't talk about enough as
Right.
a society, as a
Right.
culture, is depression.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think depression is a very big thing. It's one of those diseases that nobody knows how to handle. So that's why nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
You know, I think we need to educate ourselves on the signs a little bit better. Like, I feel like there needs to be more awareness of the signs. Like, once somebody starts withdrawing,
Here's my thing, though, and I want y'all to just, give me your perspective on this. Because I lost a good friend of mine to suicide. And I truly felt like when somebody makes that decision, there's no stopping them. That's my thing. When my friend that killed himself, I felt like there was nothing none of us could have did. I feel like he had made up his mind. Because the way he did it just let me know there was nothing nobody could tell him.
Yeah.
That was his choice.
Yeah.
There was no talking him off that ledge.
yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to speak for somebody in that way, but I do feel like, I feel like there's been a few people who may have wanted to commit suicide and may have been really, really close, but there was some type of intervention. Maybe there was somebody who found out or somebody that they spoke to. Sometimes somebody speaks to you and you can tell they're starting to, people when they get suicidal, they start speaking a certain way. Sometimes, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like if there was more support, I don't know why your friend in particular committed suicide, but the thing is, once somebody starts having those types of thoughts, I wish there was more outlets and more people you could talk to and tell them, shit is getting real for me. I want to.
So let me ask you this: Do you think there's a difference between suicide and a cry for attention? Because when I see these people who are sitting at the edge of the bridge, who've had ample amount of time to jump, and they sit and have that conversation with somebody, I don't think that's a suicide attempt. I just think that is a desperate cry for attention.
Right.
I see what you're saying, but I feel like one thing can lead to another because it may take it. It can,
Right, if they don't get that attention,
yeah,
then
then
they'll
do
jump.
it. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
I mean?
Yeah,
But I feel like there's a difference between somebody who puts a gun to their head and pulls that trigger. I'm sorry, there ain't no talking them out. That's what they wanted to do.
yeah, but that's the final straw. They could have been that same person who was sitting on the ledge and somebody talked them off of the ledge. Like, to me, there's levels to it. There's stages to it. A lot of the time, you don't just wake up and be like, you know what, today I'm going to shoot myself. It's progression. Like, you start to feel that way.
I must disagree. There are people who do say that. There
You
are
know-
people who say, I'm going to put this gun in my head. I don't want to be here no more.
Right.
I'm going to put this gun in my head and I'm going to kill myself.
Right, but this is what I'm trying to say is you're not living in a perfect world as far as you're concerned. You're happy, everything's great. I'm happy, I'm successful, everything's going the way I want it to go. You know what I mean? I'm emotionally stable, financially stable, whatever ways you feel like you need to be stable. And then no. But I said that's why I said financially successful, financially stable, emotionally, mentally, all of those things count. So what I'm trying to say is somebody who feels like they are whole in all of those areas, they're not going to wake up tomorrow and just be like, I want to kill myself. I'm telling you, when somebody kills themselves, it's because, basically depression comes from when people feel like they lose control. Once you feel like you've lost control of your life and there's nothing you can do, you become helpless and you become introvert and you start, and that's really what depression is. It's when you actually feel hopeless. That's where depression stems from.
I must say, like, I suffered from a bit of depression. Like, I can't lie. Like, I felt like I didn't want to leave my room sometimes, and it was weird because I'm quite a bubbly and happy person. No one would ever tell that I was depressed. And then I was watching this documentary that came on in England. It was about that Robin Williams, that actor, who killed himself.
Who showed no
and
signs.
he was depressed.
Right.
And to me, that's what I'm saying. He would be the last person I'd think would murder him. So why would he do that?
All of his people
That's what I'm saying.
and that did. Thank you. I'm glad you went that.
That's
That
why I
goes
was
back to
like,
my point. What I was saying. When somebody decides in their mind that that's what they want to do, there is no stopping them. This Robin Williams showed no signs. His family had no clue.
Exactly.
They
And
knew that he was.
wasn't
I
happy.
forgot the disease he had, but he had some sort of disease where his mental was breaking down, and they knew that. But they said even through that, he showed every single bit of being the same Robin Williams they always knew.
And that's what I'm
until the
saying.
day he killed
He
himself.
was always very happy and always like doing a lot of comedy stuff, and he would be the last person that I would have thought would be suffering from that, if I'm honest. And he went on and doing his acting stuff, and no one would have ever thought that he was gonna do something like that.
Same thing
And
with-
even
Right.
me- and
No,
that's
I'm not.
what's
I'm not.
scary.
No, I'm not. No, the thing is, I'm not.
That's them people
Yeah,
that-
yeah. He knew how to say.
But once
Exactly,
he made the
exactly.
decision, though, this is what I'm talking about.
Right.
The decision. I feel like when somebody in their mind truly makes the decision that anything is better than being here.
Right, no, that I'm not even. I'm not. No, the thing is, I'm not
There's
disputing.
nothing.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. But what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is, for you to get to that decision, there's stages. Once again, I don't think you just wake up. Like once again, if I'm happy, everything's going well in my life, mentally, financially, socially, whatever, in every way that's important to me, I'm not tomorrow gonna say, I want to kill myself. What I'm saying is there's certain shit that has to start going wrong in your life that you feel is beyond your control. Once again, whether it's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, in whatever way is important to you, and it can go downhill from there. And if there's no intervention, there's nobody you can talk to, there's nobody to stop you from, sinking deeper into that hole, then of course you're going to get to that point where you're going to be like, okay, now I'm going to kill myself. Because when you say you want to kill yourself, that means you are hopeless. I don't want to see tomorrow. I'm finished. Like there's nothing that can be done to make me feel happier. There's nothing that can be said. You give up on life.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Threshold. Everybody has a different level of what they can take and what they can deal with.
Right.
Like, some people are more resilient than others. Like that's just what it is. Like especially black people. Like we're more resilient than most people. That's why our suicide
black people
rates
don't
are so
normally
low.
do themselves, and that's really the thing that's kind of like alarming to me is that even the suicide rate amongst African Americans is kind of going up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Which I mean, either times are drastically fucked up, or it is a serious disconnect with society at the moment. Let me ask you this though: somebody who's dealt with depression, how did you overcome that?
Do you know what? To be honest, like sometimes I still probably get it. Sometimes, like sometimes I'm good, but sometimes I'll have them days where I'm just like, I don't know, I just can't leave the house, or I don't want to see anyone, I don't want to speak to anyone, and I feel quite down about myself. But what I realized is the more negative and the more like stuff that I was thinking, oh, this is wrong, this is going bad, and I kept feeling like that. I'm telling you, more shit got worse. Like more bad things were happening to me. I was attracting more bad shit to me. So I really believe in that law of attraction stuff because and I still get my days where I'm down, and I've got a lot of friends that suffer from depression as well. They're on antidepressants and stuff, but sometimes it's got to come with but it's got to come within. Like you got to find some kind of strength to be like, you know what, fuck it.
I don't believe them shits be working.
The law of attraction.
It suppresses it. That's the difference. It suppresses it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I try to stay away from all these people. I don't know about all that because a lot of these celebrities, like Michael Jackson and stuff. I was watching documentaries about it. They pump in the stuff with all these like subscriptions and like drugs.
I feel like we need...
It doesn't cure it, it suppresses it. That's the difference. And then people become addicted to it. People become addicted and dependent.
That's when the addiction...
You become
fight
dependent.
so hard for the escape that you become dependent on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But do you know what I think? If you're suffering from stuff like this, it's really good to talk about it to somebody. You don't even have to be a counsellor. I feel blessed that I do have quite good friends where I can pick up the phone and I'll be chatting to my girls for hours or something. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like getting it out. I'm talking about how I feel. When people have their I don't know, their down days or whatever, I think you always got to have someone to chat to. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get out the struggle. Otherwise, holding it in is just like bottling it up, and then it just gets worse. And
you implode.
Playing it on your mind, and it's just going round. Like you got to get that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Just got to get it out, and you've got to talk to people. And even with bullying and stuff, I went through like quite a lot of shit when I was growing up in East London. Like I know I hear a lot of stuff in America, and like certain hoods are like quite difficult and that, but we have our own kind of hood in London, and although they're not as like people will be like, oh man, ain't got no money and they can go and get JSA, but they do. But it's kind of
JSA
like
is just like getting like
job seekers allowance.
It's like getting
I know what it's like, welfare.
Yeah. So
no, actually, no. It's more like unemployment. Actually, it's more like unemployment. Yeah, but
it's like going through that. Like I've been chased with knives. I've been jumped by loads of people. I put up with this shit continuously, but I feel that the more shit that you kind of go through, the stronger person that I become. Like I can't explain it, because even my best friend Yannick, she's been hit by like, I don't know, a cab driver, and it's nuts. And like she was like went to hospital, died, come back to life like for a few minutes, and she's a very strong girl. Like I believe that my girl is really strong, and I feel like I'm a strong person because we've been through some real bad shit, and it's like you just got to tell yourself, just carry on. It's not. And I was just
that's the ultimate
It's
thing.
like you got to look at your life. I'm driving down a road. I'm gonna get to a bump. I'm gonna get over that bump, and I'm gonna move on to the next. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be
There's
real.
gonna
Like
be another.
I've
shit.
been damn near homeless, living off of oodles and noodles, literally.
I saw her.
And that thought never crossed my mind. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's strong.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm so for me, and I go to for me. Is it difficult though for anybody? Do you feel like it's difficult for people to talk to somebody who's dealing with serious depression though? Who's like constantly just dealing with
It's not easy.
them demons within themselves? Is it hard to have that conversation with people?
I think so.
I think
I think it's. I don't know if it's pride. Like I think there's so many things at play. Obviously, you don't want to talk to people, and I think some people that are going through depression don't even know they're in the depression.
That's
the thing.
That
Yeah,
was
like
me. I didn't even know.
You just think like
depressed
I'm just having a
until-
bad day or I'm in a bad mood. And you don't even realize like no, you're depressed. Like you
Right.
need to, like,
Yeah, until that funk goes on for like
Right.
a week or
Yeah,
two,
you like,
and you're like,
yeah.
all right, there's something wrong.
right.
Here,
You
know
kind
what
of
I mean?
figure it out,
Right.
but then still, when you figure it out, you still got to do something about it. You know, you still
Yeah,
got to
of
like
course.
engage with people. You still got to do certain things.
And also like going through the shit that I went through, chasing knives and all this madness. I didn't tell no one. Like when it first happened, I wasn't speaking to no one until shit got really bad. I went to hospital. I've got a scar down my stomach, all this madness. But I didn't speak, and because I didn't speak, I was bottling
So
it
can
up.
I ask why you didn't tell anybody? Like you got jumped, as you
It
said,
was
and
nuts.
you
'Cause
just-
I didn't want to talk about it, and I just thought, maybe I would forget about it, just move on. I didn't want to speak. Like I went through this stuff, and then people were like, "Oh my god!" When I went back to school, I was like, I'm fine, yeah, whatever. Like, just want to move on, just want to get on with my life. Like even when they were like, "Oh, you might need a counsellor," and I'm thinking, no, I'm fine. But I realized later in life, it affected me more a few years later. That I was like, shit. I feel, and then it was like maybe my sister or people putting it out. I really think you're quite depressed, and I didn't realize that. And then I thought, do you know what? I think I am. Like I feel down. I don't want to leave my room. That's not. That's
what's the
Yeah.
fucked up thing about it? Because I don't had I have a cousin that's still dealing with it till this day, and I had an aunt that was dealing with it. I actually went to go visit my aunt one time at the psych ward at Kings County Hospital, and when I tell you, they have not a fucking clue what to
they're
do
in denial.
with these people.
Oh.
You go into the psych ward at Kings County Hospital. You have a whole floor probably full of about 50 to 70 people. You have nurses, doctors, et cetera, et cetera. You ask them questions. They give you these bland-ass answers that just let you know they don't have a fucking clue what to do with these people. yo.
Are they just
And
putting
that-
them on medication?
Right, and they just
That's
drug
what
them
it
up.
is.
They just
That's
try
it.
to drug them and numb them,
That's it.
and that's it. And that's the sad part about it, that as a society, we don't have a hold on mental illnesses.
Right.
yo. Like we still
Right.
don't know what to do with mental illnesses,
Yeah,
and that's
sure.
the problem with them. That's why nobody wants to talk about depression,
Right.
because nobody got a fucking answer for it.
Right.
Yeah.
No one
You understand what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. I've got mental health issues on both sides of my family, and that shit can be hereditary as
Yeah,
well.
it can
Yeah.
be.
And like even my mum's a bit, she's a bit nuts. But it's like I feel like I don't want to get to that, and that's what my sister was saying. Bianca, mental illness runs in our family. Do you get me? Like people could you could go nuts. You got to talk about shit. That's what my sister always said to me. You got to talk about it. If you don't talk about it, you're gonna turn crazy like mum. Do you know? And she's
Yeah.
like, you got to get it out.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think maybe my sister making me aware. Putting it in my head.
So you had support.
Yeah, I feel like I've got quite a few good friends, so I feel that I can talk about things, and now I'm quite an open person. Now I just realize I don't give a fuck. I don't care if people don't like me, or I don't really care. Like I'm just gonna do me in it. That's the only person that I can do. And if someone don't like me, you know what? Fuck you. Don't be my friend. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to be my friend. Do you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So I've got
Real
to the
shit,
stage
though.
in my
Yeah.
life where I think that's what it is. I used
Yo,
to
salute
care
to you,
so
man.
much.
Give her a clap for that,
There
man.
you go.
Because
There
I
you
feel like
go.
that right there is where the strength comes in.
Yeah,
You
like
know
I
what
used to
mean?
care, I think, what people thought and shit. But now I'm like,
shit
I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Don't talk to me. Don't be my friend. I don't
Yeah,
really care
yeah.
about- Who
Nah,
are
I'm
you
with you
anyway?
on that.
Do you know what I mean? You're just another person with another opinion, and realistically, don't matter what you do in life, there's always going to be someone out there that don't like you.
Everybody, people
Do you
gonna
get what
have
I
an
mean?
opinion
Always.
about you no matter what you do,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly.
You do bad, they're gonna have an opinion. You do good, they're gonna have even more of an
Exactly.
opinion.
Right.
So it's really no escaping that,
Exactly.
man. But one thing I can say is though, I'm never gonna expect somebody to have the mental threshold that I have. You know what I mean? Because like, when I say I don't give a fuck with nobody think about me. I really do not give a flying fuck what nobody thinks
Right,
about
right,
me.
right.
You know what I mean? But I understand that, you know, there are a lot of people who really, their days go up and down with everybody else's opinions.
Yeah, everybody's
You know what I
different.
mean?
Everybody's
Like-
different. Like everybody's different. Like you feel the way you feel. I don't know if it's your experience that made you that way. I don't know what it is that made you that way. But somebody who feels the opposite, they may just have experiences that led them to feel that way. It could be like issues within their family. It could be, I don't know. It could be so many things. So I never judge somebody based on how they are either. Do you know what I mean? You can't judge somebody on how they are. It's great that you feel that way, but there's many people who feel insecure. There's many people who feel that they need to be validated by other people. Hence the reason social media is so big.
Right.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Word.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of people who feel like they have to be validated, and I don't know what it was they were missing in their life, or
Like,
If your happiness,
Yeah.
and your emotional state is attached to someone else other than yourself,
yeah,
like you're fucked.
I always say
Yeah.
that too. The minute you seek happiness from something or someone else is the minute you lost yourself.
That's
Yeah.
the same thing
Happiness
with, like,
truly is within, man.
Yeah, like it's just
Yeah,
like
definitely.
comparing yourself, like
yeah,
your success to someone else's success. Like
Yeah.
that's not gonna work.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
your path is different than that person's path.
right,
Like,
right.
Right.
One
You'll go crazy trying to chase
Yeah.
Diddy.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
Like,
you'll
damn.
literally lose your mind trying to
New
trying
roles
to
now,
be
like, fuck.
yeah, trying to be be you. Like everybody's road is not going to be the same, yo.
Exactly.
And that's why
You know what I mean?
it's important for me to speak about stuff like this, and just to speak to like the mothers out there who are raising kids. Like, you have to instill certain values into your kids, because if you don't instill it at a young age, they're going to fall victim. They're going to be vulnerable. Like, you have to teach your child self-confidence. You have to teach your child to love themselves.
But here's the thing.
It's not always easy.
Yeah, that's tough.
But none of
though.
us
It's not
have
always
kids, so
easy.
we can't imagine what it's like to raise a child in this generation.
Right.
Oh, of course. We can't imagine. I can only imagine is what I should say.
What it's like to
I
raise
can
a
only
kid
imagine.
now, like
I can
they're
only
going to
imagine.
have questions that you as a parent just can't answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it still doesn't mean you don't try. What I'm trying to say is, like, hopefully you're able to do the best you can, and that's all anybody can do. But once again, I feel like you definitely need to give your child love so that they're not looking for love somewhere else. You definitely have to teach them self-worth, value, self-esteem. Like, if your self-esteem is fucked up, your life is fucked up. If you don't have self-esteem,
maybe
you'll
set
fall
life
victim.
goals, you know?
You'll fall victim to
And
most
Set life
things.
goals.
and I'm glad you brought that. 'Cause that's one thing I love my mother for. I just told her this on Mother's Day. Is that she raised me and my brother not to be punks. I'm sorry. Like, I love her for that, because me and my brother were taught, and I'm in a predominantly female family, so we had to hold it. And I got four
Right.
sisters.
Right.
I got 4 sisters. So I had to hold it down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so she raised us to not be nobody's victim. It was hard. It was harsh. But I thank God that she did that, because I went to school with that chip on my shoulder. Like, yo, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with my sisters. I'm not looking for no trouble, but if you bring it my way, I'm going to give you the fight you looking for. You understand what I'm saying? And truthfully, I'm going to raise my children like that. Because I hear these stories about, what's the little man's name again?
Gabriel.
Gabriel. I hear them stories about, you know, a kid who went to school, for whatever reason, just couldn't handle himself, probably because his parents taught him not to walk down that road. Don't be violent. Walk away.
Right.
Go tell somebody. And he ended up being somebody's victim, and it was just too much for him to handle. You understand what I'm saying? Or it was the tipping point.
Right.
Either way. And it led him to where he went. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm sorry. That's how I'm going to raise my children. Don't be nobody's victim.
Did they say anything about his family, like his parents, or?
I mean, he's you know what I mean, his mother is speaking out and saying that, you know what I mean, promising him that the world will hear his voice. Like, she obviously wants to start a movement now to make sure it doesn't happen to other kids, you know what I mean? So more power to her. You know, you just mentioned not speaking up. I mean, at the end of the day, people are made differently, people are raised differently, but I just hope that at some point we can get to a place where people start to be more comfortable speaking up and speaking to somebody. Because if he had told somebody, it might have changed the whole course of, you know what I mean, the situation. If he was comfortable enough or trusted somebody enough or wasn't too scared, he would have been able to tell somebody who may have been able to change the end result. So no, I do think that if you're not somebody who thinks the way, Peso was raised to think, and I'm happy for you. I'm glad you think that way. That's why you're sitting with us now, and that's great. But not everybody is fortunate enough to be raised that way. So once again, I just feel like we need more support within the schooling system, within the community. I feel like we just need more awareness of stuff like this. I don't think it should be stuff that we let slide.
The conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
That's
At this
it.
point, the
Exactly.
conversation
It
needs to be had.
yeah.
We can't keep trying to jump around and
Nah,
dodge around.
not at all. Not
Conversation
at all.
needs, because there's no reason why an 8-year-old should even have the wherewithal to hang himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because that means that thought had been there for quite some time.
Right. And that was my whole point earlier. You're basically agreeing with what I said, which is that, I mean, if the bullying was going on for a year, maybe after 2 months, 3 months, he probably lived with that for a while. And then when he did it, that was the final
So he said
straw.
enough is enough.
It's
Yeah,
enough,
he said
enough is
enough
enough.
is
Yeah.
enough.
So young though, innit?
Same thing with Khalif. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
talking about him up
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
It was the same thing with him. He just got to a point to where enough was enough. He couldn't just take no more.
Yeah.
And people are embarrassed by it. Like my boy, like one of my best friends I grew up with. He's a fucking professor at Howard, and like he used to go to see his therapist on campus. And he used to go and make sure like no one saw him going to the therapist. So it's like it's still that stigma of like embarrassment.
And I
I'm like,
hate
this
that.
dude is, like,
Embarrassment of what though?
Going to see a therapist,
like,
and that's what I
Well,
hate.
health people look
That's
at
what I
like, you're crazy or
hate,
something's wrong with you, or-
especially amongst.
Like I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
I'm like, you're doing what most people should do.
That's what I'm trying to
Like,
say. And the
right,
thing is,
right,
in our
right.
communities,
I had
like
to tell
you know, what I
them
mean, in the black communities, ethnic communities in general, stuff like that is looked down on.
Oh, yeah,
But
we don't.
white people will go and talk to their therapist if they need to speak to their therapist. And I feel like black people, don't be ashamed to do that. At the end of the day, if if you feel like you have an issue that you need help with, be proactive about it. You can be proactive.
But let's keep it
No
100.
one can never solve. Nobody can ever solve your problem for you necessarily. But if you can't speak to your mom, you can't speak to your friends, you can't. If you can seek counseling from a professional or somebody who you feel may be able to give you some guidance or help you sort out your thoughts, because some people's thoughts get confused. Some people literally they can't think straight. Literally, when people say I can't think straight, some people. The voice and they hear voices, and I'm not talking about schizophrenics. I'm talking about people who just can't organize their thoughts, can't get their shit together, and sometimes you need somebody to kind of help you sort your thoughts out. And to me, I feel like it's so sad that more people don't get to the stage where they need to speak to a therapist, but they don't do it because they're embarrassed. They don't do it because it's looked down upon in the community. No, if you need to speak to somebody, that person may help save your life, so speak to somebody. At the end of the day, your well-being is more important than you feeling a bit of embarrassment or shame. So if we had more of that, I think that would be progressive.
No, that's a fact though. That's real talk.
Yeah.
Damn, that was real. That's
You
real
was
talk.
about to say something.
That's real. I try to be that for a lot of my people. Like,
Yeah.
yo, you got let me know, and I'm always gonna give it to you straight and just let you know what it is. But I'm always willing to listen because I know how. Like I said, coming from someone who's lost a good friend to suicide, I know how important it is to listen.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. Just send me on the phone for 2-3 hours.
Right.
Just get it. Whatever
Yeah.
you feel you need
Exactly.
to. I'm with it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I got my laptop. I got the TV. I can multitask. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so just you can sit me on the phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I'll bear that in mind.
yeah, well, no, not you. I don't know how you look at it. Lord knows
How hard a vegan diet is.
Word, that's why her stomach is crunching up and shit. I want to hear that shit, yo. Should have been eating fucking chicken and shit. You know what I mean? But nah, you know what I mean? But like I said, at this point, At this point, it's a conversation that continuously needs to be had. We need to talk about depression. I feel like depression is one of the leading illnesses in this country right now. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Not even in this country, in the world.
In the world, yeah.
It's hard right now. It is. It's hard. Everybody out here is trying to find their way. Right. You know what I mean? We all put on that mask that says we're doing great, but inside, a lot of us ain't. You know what I mean? It's tough times out here right now. You know what I mean?
Do you think that social media
Hell yeah.
contributes to depression?
Hell yeah. You didn't even need
Do
to
you
finish the
think-
question before I knew the
feel like
answer.
that, yeah.
I think it hits females more than men
The more
because
we got now, I
the-
don't know, the more people are getting like depressed or isolated.
Of course, of
Although
course.
they've got so much, like you got all your friends on Facebook, you haven't really got your friends around you because you're just online. I don't know what it is.
I feel like it kind of, in a sense, it probably does isolate people. But then at the same time, a lot of people are living don't want to say fake lives, but a lot of people are putting on a persona that makes other people feel like they're less because everybody's got this and everybody's doing that and everybody's so hell yeah, it definitely. So some people can start to feel like, oh, if I don't have this and if I'm not posting this and if I'm not, then I ain't shit, and that's so sad. Social media is definitely, I feel like it plays a big part in
depression today.
Yeah, definitely.
You start feeling down.
And the sad thing, do you know what the sad thing about it is that social media is not even real. So it's like you're becoming depressed over something that's an illusion.
A facade. Like,
they're putting filters on that, and you think that's what they look like.
Yeah,
these filters.
Yo, one thing I expressed, man, like these girls that you're chasing to be like live terrible lives, yo. Like they really do. Like these girls, I've seen it. Like these girls live hard lives, yo. It looks great on the gram, on the Snapchat, on the Facebook, whatever. But in real life, these girls are sleeping on somebody's couch, somebody's floor, just trying to make their way. Yeah. Like it is, man, and we just got, like I said, at some point the ship just got to get back to real and honesty. Be you, like just be you. You know what I mean? At some point it got to get back to that. I feel like once we get back to that, then as a society we'll be back in a better place. You know what I'm saying? When people are just comfortable with being themselves. I feel like a lot of people wake up every day and just feel like being themselves just isn't enough for this world.
Right.
Like people just are not going to accept just you being yourself.
Right. It's different now because before you just had to be yourself in real life, but now you got to be yourself in real life or struggle with being yourself in real life, and then you got to struggle with depending on how important it is to you, you got to struggle with being yourself on social media. So there's more pressure. It's like some people are literally living double lives. Like they have two lives. It's like you got your real life, then you got your social media life. You know what I'm trying to say?
The difference is back in the days, the struggle was about us collectively as a community making the best out of what we had. The struggle now is trying your hardest to act like you're not in the struggle.
Right.
And one up each other. Like everybody's trying
like
to one up each other.
That's really, it's like a competition for everybody to just try the hardest to see who can hide their struggle the best. That's what it is now.
Go and take pictures in the most posh places and be like, all right, quick.
Let me take a picture in front of this Bentley that I don't own.
I know damn well I can't
You know what I mean? Let me just go into this hotel lobby, knowing I ain't got no room in here, and take some picture, knowing that I'm sleeping on somebody's couch in this hotel room.
That's why
and take some pictures. Like,
what goes through people's mind when they do that shit? Like, I just wonder, like, what's the process? Like, what I'm thinking about before I post like this.
It's just thinking I need to be I need to be accepted. I need to be looked at a certain way. I need to be validated. I need to be moving on up in the world, and if that's the way that I've got to do it, then that's the way I've got to do it. That's really what I feel goes through people's heads, is like, this is what is popping right now. This is what makes you a legit person. This is what validates you. This is what makes you somebody who is important or somebody who is looked up to. So hell yeah, I'm going to do whatever it takes to look like that person.
Or when you get followers and likes, or maybe I've heard if you get a certain amount of followers, you start to get free things. Or because a girl was telling me she's got something, I don't know, 28.k followers, whatever it is. But she said that she gets plastic surgery people messaging her and giving her free treatments so they could advertise her stuff and that. And maybe it's things like that. Do you know what I mean? Does not obviously help.
Yeah.
That's for the moment, man. Long term, it's a totally different ball game, yo. I tell people all the time, I feel sorry for a lot of people, man, because reality is going to hit them hard. Like, hard. I'm telling you, a lot of people are going to hit rock bottom faster than you think, man. So that's just what it is, man. Let me see. Something else I wanted to get into, though. I don't want to get depressed by this talk about depression, you know?
So, about R. Kelly and the chlamydia.
For real?
Wait, what?
Oh, okay. Oh, no, there was a story, like, recently.